busting didn't feel quite as good this time around. Hi, my name is Ryan Lane, and welcome to my review channel. So for today's movie, I will be reviewing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Directed by Gil Kenan and starring Paul Rudd, Carrie, Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna, Kumail Nanjiani, Patton, Oswalt, Celeste O'Connor, Logan Kim, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie, Hudson, and Annie Potts. So in the 2 years since the events of Ghostbusters Afterlife, quite a bit has changed. Phoebe, played once again by McKenna, has moved into the famous ghost-busting building along with her mother Callie, played by Carrie Coon, her brother Trevor, played by Finn Wolfhard, and her sorta stepfather, sorta not stepfather, Gary, played by Paul Rudd. And so they do what you do when you move into the Ghostbusters building. They bust ghosts. But unfortunately for them, ghost busting involves busting pretty much everything else, really. And it's that part after a chase through New York after a sort of fish ghost of sorts that they land in hot water with Mayor Walter, this man has no dick, Peck, played by William Atherton. And so because of that, Phoebe gets booted off the team on account of only being 15 years old. And matters are further complicated when not Dan Aykroyd. He's Dan Aykroyd at this point, really. I mean, he's gotten a little kooky with this whole weird skull vodka, whatever. And yeah, he's essentially playing himself in this movie. Anyway, he receives a fancy orb from Nadim, played by Kumail Nanjiani, that has ultra paranormal activity or whatever technobabble things they use to explain it. Anyway, explorations, comedy hijinks, and a giant climax where they blast a ghost with lasers. Just the usual Monday. So the writing is derivative and, isn't all that funny. I mean, the film doesn't require its cast to deliver groaners of lines. There was never a line that made me go, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me, that was so painfully unfunny. I wish I had never been born." The lines just aren't that funny. That's not to say there weren't some laughs every now and then. There'd be a moment where I found myself laughing. I was like, okay, all right, that was clever. But other moments were just like, ha, 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 ha. It's like there's one moment, where Nadim, he's kind of the, he's everyone else in the building. Like at one point when he drops the orb off, and, Dan Aykroyd, he goes into his little techno-babble spiel and paranormal activity. He's like, oh, yeah, thank you for asking. They totally don't do that. And, I mean, it's like, I get where they were going with the dialogue, kind of a sarcastic quippiness, but, I don't know, it just feels stale. Plus, the film's backstory for its villain, I don't know, it's actually kind of interesting. I like it, but it doesn't have all that interesting build-up. There's dead languages, there's orbs that contain unspeakable evil, and then there's a climax. Like I said, it doesn't amount to much beyond shooting lasers at it, realizing that lasers won't work, and then a Hail Mary move that could kill us all with the proton pack containment technology. And then the film kind of also moves at quite a glacial pace, which, the original Ghostbusters film, it wasn't exactly a high speed, like Oppenheimer speed through the plot faster than, atoms being smashed together in an atom bomb. But that Ghostbusters also had ultra hilarious, memorable characters. This film has, I'll explain that into the next part. So the performances are all right, but in some cases, all across the board, they lack strong character arcs, and in some cases, three-dimensional characterization. Like, again, Phoebe and, McKenna and the rest of the blended Spengler family cast, they're all right, and they have decent chemistry together. I buy them as a blended family, but again, they lack strong arcs. Like, Phoebe's arc is that, she's learning to be, a little less selfish and, not be in such a rush in life. But, it doesn't work amount to much. I mean, she has a friendship with a ghost. I mean, that's like a new for this franchise. Well, sort of. I mean, she kind of has sort of ish friendship with her dead grandfather, but you know, Harold Ramis be dead and all, so they couldn't have a back and forth dialogue. In this one, she can actually talk with a ghost, and yeah, it's like at one point, you know, she goes to the park to play chess against herself, I guess, and then she meets a ghost, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm a ghost. And I was like, oh, come on, movie. You have now made talking with a ghost boring. It's like, really? Just come on. I don't know. And then Trevor, his character arc is like, you know, I don't know, grow up, be accepted as an adult, but the film does virtually nothing with that beyond a B plot of trying to, you know, hunt down the original Slimer ghost. Gary's arc is learning how to, you know, be a tough father figure at times, you know, rather than just the fun father figure, and it kind of works. He gets a nice little monologue at one point, and it's like, so his arc is kind of the best, but that's not saying much. Also, the legacy characters return. Dan Aykroyd, Annie Potts, Bill Murray. They return, and I'd argue they're better integrated into this film than they were in the last. And they do have good chemistry with the original characters. But all they do is kind of just make me wish I was watching the original Ghostbusters. And then there's William Atherton, who is not very... He has like 3 scenes throughout the entire movie, and his purpose is just to say, hey, remember me? I was in the movie 4 years ago. I hate the Ghostbusters. And that's all there kind of is to his character, really. And then there's like some of the returning characters, like Podcast and, I don't know, Trevor's girlfriend, sort of-ish. I don't remember her name, and be honest, you don't either. They don't have much to do. It's like they're given some characterization, but they kind of get lost in the mix. And then there's British nerd guy. And I say that because I don't remember his name, and neither will you. His job is just to deliver exposition about all the cool tech they use to catch ghosts. So the visual effects, you know, they look cool. Like on a technical level, they're well done, but they're not that good. I mean, well, okay, they are good, but they're not exciting. Like, again, as I mentioned, there's an opening chase. You know, Phoebe's out in a gunner seat shooting a laser gun. I mean, it's a proton pack, but let's face it, it's a laser gun. She's shooting a laser gun at a fish ghost. You know, they're driving through New York. They use a drone RC car to try and trap it, and then when that doesn't work, they use a drone. And yeah, you know, my pulse barely raised an inch. It's like okay, cool, but it just, yeah, that's all this film kind of is. The cool visuals are cool, but they're not super exciting. The film does have a few new ideas, but the film doesn't do much with them, like the idea of people being separated from their bodies, turning into ghosts, to like at one point they reveal that they can keep ghosts in captivity, you know, instead of just, you know, liquefying them and putting them in a storage container to never think about them again. But the film doesn't do much with these ideas. And plus, I will say this, I mean, the film does have some cool effects, you know, with the ice and everything freezing and icicles, but it rarely extends beyond that. Like, beyond icicles protruding through the ground and people being frozen to death, the film doesn't have much exciting beyond that. And again, like I said, the climax, it's special effects driven. You know, they're shooting lasers at it. There's a Hail Mary move with the proton pack. The villain says some, you know, usual evil villain, you know, you guys screwed me over, now it's my turn type shtick. It's all just kind of, you know, again, it's not horrible. It's just not that exciting and new. And I will say this, the film does have the occasional fun visual, like at one point they hunt down a trash bag, and I won't explain the context more beyond that, but it was like, okay, all right, this is fun. And there's a cool stop motion visual effects used to explain the villain's backstory. I did enjoy that and lend some identity to this movie, so, you know, yeah. So, though it's not entirely bereft of new ideas, Frozen Empire makes Bustin' not feel as good as it should due to underdeveloped ideas and a lackluster script. So with all that in mind, I will be giving Ghostbusters Frozen Empire 2.5 out of 5 stars. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And for today's comment section prompt of the day, what is your favorite Ghostbusters movie and why?